Bye-bye.
Hi everybody, how are you? The Chattering Magpie is here with the rest of the gang. Gang, hey, hello, greetings and salutations. How is everybody?
We gangin'.
It's true.
Oh look, Fuji is with us. Is that you, Fuji? Hold on, let me just check.
Fuji.
Yes, it is Fuji.
Fuji.
Hey, Fuji. Well, I'm glad that you're here with us. I'm glad everybody here is ready and excited, I assume, to read some kind of Monte Cristo. I thank you for your patience. Last week, my sister got super sick. That's what happens when you travel and you come home with all those ugly little germs. So I don't know what she picked up in Texas, but if you're over there in Texas, be careful. There's a nasty bug, or maybe it was in the airport. LAX also seems to be, prime ground for.
Major travel hubs are very
Yeah.
prone to spreading viruses.
Yeah, so do be careful, everybody. Thanksgiving here in the United States is going to be this week. So if you're traveling, first of all, what the hell are you thinking? But second,
I'm feeling called out here.
well, I didn't say anything, but you are an adventurer. Wow. Serious thrill issues, but okay. And also do have safe travels, eat well, drink some emergency and airborne and all the things you can so you don't get sick. So anyway,
Orange juice is delicious.
Yeah, so anyway, last week that was happening and I had to, support family here. Like, it was really bad. So everything had to be canceled, and so yeah, here hanging out with you guys. I was talking to the gang earlier and we're just like talking and suddenly, oh look, it's time to go live. So here we are, excited.
We be yapping.
Yep. Yeah, we're talking about food and what we're gonna have for Thanksgiving. Yeah, so if you're celebrating Thanksgiving this year, put in the chat, let us know what you're having or what your favorite side dish is, because I know everybody usually has the same meal: Thanksgiving, mashed potatoes, pies, etc., etc., etc. I'll say my favorite yearly tradition has become chocolate pecan pie. There was a year that, for some reason or another, my sister wanted to try making chocolate pecan pie. So I was like, no, because I'm a pecan pie purist. But then she made the pie with chocolate, and it was absolutely amazing. And then she said, and it uses less eggs than the original pecan pie. So I was like, sold, make this every single year from now on. So yeah, my favorite Thanksgiving dish, now that I no longer eat turkey, is chocolate pecan pie. What about you guys?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's really yummy. What about you guys? What is your favorite autumn-ish, Thanksgiving-ish dish?
Did I tell you guys about my grandmother's mashed potatoes, where you also layer on cheese and like panko breading, something that's almost like an open croquette?
Oh,
And it's pretty good.
you have not told me about this good news. Tell me about the gospel of the potatoes. Pray, continue to tell
You
me
just
more.
make them even more. Just adding cheese to mashed potatoes already is like, and then the breading gives a nice little crispness to go with the mush, and yeah, it's very good.
That sounds amazing. You know what? I learned like 10 minutes ago while I was scrolling through Facebook. So Cuisinart, they put an ad and I watched the ad. Yes, they got me. And a way to do, they did like how to do like mac and cheese. And so you put your first layer of mac and cheese, and then you put like a layer of shredded cheese, and then you put your other. So I was like, oh, no way, you could do that. There's no law that says you can't do, a lasagna-ish.
Right.
Oh my gosh, what?
Actually
That sounds
made like
good.
maca gratin like mine made for
Wow.
the Italian restaurant where you just like toss it in a white sauce and then layer it in cheese and bake it.
Oh,
It's very good.
that sounds fantastic. Teal, when are you gonna drop your cookbook? Teal, please.
I can drop my secret menu that I made that no one knows about but me, so it's truly secret.
Can you unsecret it for us, please?
Maybe. I'll work on it, maybe.
That would be lovely. How about you, Fuji? I haven't heard a lot from you because you got here a little bit later. How are you doing? Are you celebrating?
No. I'm not.
Oh, okay. She's not
How
celebrating.
about you, Patrick?
I'm
What's
just
your
gonna eat some
favorite
good food.
Thanksgiving
What's your
food?
favorite autumn food, if not Thanksgiving food?
I put it down in the YouTube comments, actually. My favorite autumn dishes are the souls of Magpie fans who have not yet sold their souls to Chaosifer.
Well, that's quite a dish. May you find contentment in the dark side, I guess?
Now, is that traditionally served cold or warm?
It's sold hot with Hellfire.
Okay.
Oh my.
And Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper on the side.
Dr. Pepper.
Mhm. So, Dr.
Dr. Pepper,
must
the
be
official
ice
drink
cold.
of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Dr.
Yes.
Pepper, contrary to popular belief, you can drink it hot.
Ew! No!
There's a recipe for it.
Yuck. No.
There is a recipe for that.
Hey, I heard there's some people that their nightcap is like warmed beer. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff out there. We just haven't, we haven't explored the limits of human ingenuity. So I guess I'll let you enjoy that over there on your own, though. Yeah.
Warm root beer, anyone?
No.
Root beer is my favorite. But I don't think I'd ever drink it warm.
Yeah, that's a recipe for I don't know. I think I would get a tummy ache with warm anything. All right. So
anyway,
so today we're going to be reading chapter 30. Let me check.
38 and 39.
I didn't get to talk about my autumn thing.
Well,
what's
you were
yours?
going to move us on, so I was like, okay.
I guess I was. Let's move on with the
Okay,
with the
Patrick.
thing.
But before we move on, Patrick, what are you? I know you're traveling. God bless you. What are you traveling? I mean, what are you having on your Thanksgiving that you like the most? What's your favorite dish?
Well, so I decided to make a original dish where I combine chili and cornbread. I call it
Sounds good.
a chili casserole.
Hmm.
You make the chili as a base, and then you pour the cornbread on top of it, and you bake it until the cornbread is nice and baked, and you got a casserole, kind of like
Mail
a
me
shepherd's
some.
pie.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I do love a good chili and cornbread, so yeah, that sounds very warm and autumny. So enjoy. And again, everybody, if you have pictures that you want to share, be sure to put them in the cuisine channel, and we will go and drool over your beautiful pictures there. Look, Akihana is in the chat. Hey, Akihana!
Hey.
Greetings and salutations. I know you're not here in the US, but do you have a particular autumn themed food that you like?
Only autumn theme
Mm-hmm.
foods here in Philippines, considering it's a tropical country, would probably Starbucks pumpkin spice latte.
Hey! Pumpkin spice latte is amazing. Yes, good. Don't listen to the haters. It's good. By the way,
Just be to the pumpkin.
I always made fun of people who loved pumpkin spice. I called them basic white bitches. And then
Rude.
at work, someone brought in donuts that had pumpkin spice. I'm like, oh my god, this is delicious. I'm a basic white.
Hintay ko lang napababa sila.
And did you
Hindi ko lang
retract
mapapabala.
your... Oh my gosh, what's going on over there, Akihana? Did you then retract furthermore your comments about people who enjoy their pumpkin spice? Yeah.
Oh no, they're still basic. I just happen to have joined their ranks.
Well, I'm glad
I don't know.
you
I've
withdrew
never gotten
the
into
most...
the pumpkin spice thing, but
Well, maybe
I
one day.
don't
Maybe
dislike
one day.
people for like.
Yeah. All right, you guys. So, how about we get started? Before we do, though, just want to catch us up to speed. I know it's been a week. I know that, let's see, today we're reading chapter 38, but what happened in chapter 37? A lot of stuff happened in the earlier ones. So, Yay, who was first comment? Do you want to let us, give us a rundown on what happened, please? That would be
Yeah, I should probably read that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Last time, on the Count of Monte Cristo, Franz was visited by a messenger from Luigi Vampa, indicating that Albert had been kidnapped, and that if a ransom wasn't provided in short order, Albert wouldn't be seen again. The ransom, however, was beyond the means of both Albert and Franz to pay with the credit they had in Rome. After considering asking for funds from a friend, Franz realized that there was a much simpler solution. Using all he'd learned of the Count and his connections, Franz suggested that the Count call in his favor with Vampa to release him. The Count, after the ruse was up, called in the messenger, who turned out to be Peppino, and arranged for their travel to Vampa's lair to release Albert. The Count was very angry with Vampa for violating their rules not to kidnap his friends and acquaintances, and through this was able to secure Albert's release, and Albert's great regard for the Count. Is this all part of the Count's master plan? How will this lead to Edmund's revenge? Find out more today on The Count of Monte Cristo.
Nice. Yay. Thank you. All right, you guys. I think we're all caught up. Edmund Dantes is on his road to revenge, and we are here to see it happen. So today, reading, we have chapter 38 and 39, the following people. Count of Monte Cristo, that is Dantes, the traveler, the Englishman, all of the roles that he plays is going to be Patrick. Albert Morcerf is going to be read by EA82. Franz Depinet is going to be read by Teal. Chapter 39, again, Albert Morcerf is going to be EA. Germaine, that's going to be me. Lucien Debray is going to be Teal, and Monsieur Beauchamp is going to be Patrick. And highlighter MVP is going to be Teal. And highlighter MVP is, as always, our delightful Teal. By the way, before we start, Fuji, do you want to read? Are you around to read?
No, thank you. I have an appointment in an hour.
Okay, no problem. How about you, Akihana, if you're there?
Probably best not, because I'm in the car on the road.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to make sure, because I did have a little roll, so I'm happy to share if you wanted to read. All right, you guys. Happy that you joined us. Let us get started with chapter 38, The Rendezvous. Ooh. Okay, the Anonymous Grizzly. The Anonymous Grizzly. What havoc are you doing?
I have no idea who this grizzly is, but he sounds like a dashing rogue.
All right. Let's get started. Chapter 38, The Rendezvous. The first words that Albert uttered to his friend on the following morning contained a request that Franz would accompany him on a visit to the Count. True, the young man had warmly and energetically thanked the Count on the previous evening, but services such as he had rendered could never be too often acknowledged. Franz, who seemed attracted by some invisible influence toward the Count, in which terror was strangely mingled, felt an extreme reluctance to permit his friend to be exposed alone to the singular fascination that this mysterious personage seemed to exercise over him, and therefore made no objection to Albert's request, but at once accompanied him to the desired spot And after a short delay, the Count joined them in the salon.
My dear Count, permit me to repeat the poor thanks I offered last night, and to assure you that the remembrance of all I owe you will never be effaced from my memory. Believe me, as long as I live, I shall never cease to dwell with grateful recollection on the prompt and important service you rendered me, and also to remember that to you I am indebted even for my life.
My very good friend and excellent neighbor, you really exaggerate my trifling exertions. You owe me nothing but some trifle of 20,000 francs, which you have been saved out of your traveling expenses. So there is not much of a score between us. But you must really permit me to congratulate you on the ease of the ease and unconcern with which you resigned yourself to your fate, and the perfect indifference you manifested as to the turn of events might take.
Upon my word, I deserve no credit for what I could not help, namely a determination to take everything as I found it, and let those bandits see that although men get into troublesome scrapes all over the world, there is no nation but the French that can smile even in the face of grim death himself. All that, however, has nothing to do with my obligations to you, and I now come to ask you whether, in my own person, my family, or connections, I can in any way serve you. My father, the Comte de Morcerf, although of Spanish origin, possesses considerable influence, both at the court of France and Madrid, and I unhesitatingly place the best services of myself and all to whom my life is dear at your disposal.
Monsieur Morcerf, you offer far from your offer, far from surprising me, is precisely what I expected from you, and I accept it in the same spirit of hearty sincerity with which it is made. Nay, I will go still further and say that I had previously made up my mind to ask a great favor at your hands.
Oh, pray name it.
I am wholly a stranger to Paris. It is a city I have never yet seen.
Is it possible that you have reached your present age without visiting the finest capital in the world? I can scarcely credit it.
Nevertheless, it is quite true. Still, I agree with you in thinking that my present ignorance of the first city in Europe is a reproach to me in every way, and calls for immediate correction. For in all probability, I should have performed so important, but in all probability, I should have performed as that of making myself acquainted with the wonders and beauties of your justly celebrated capital. Had I known any person who would have introduced me to the fashionable world, but unfortunately I possessed no acquaintance there, and of necessity was compelled to abandon the idea.
So distinguished an individual as yourself could scarcely have required an introduction.
You are most kind. But as regards myself, I can find no merit I possess, save that as a millionaire I might have become a partner in the speculations of Monsieur Aguado and Monsieur Rothschild. But as my motive in traveling to your capital would not have been for the pleasure of dabbling in stocks, I stayed away till some favorable chance present itself should present itself of carrying my wish into execution. Your offer, however, smooths all difficulties, and I have only to ask you, my dear Monsieur de Morcerf, whether you undertake upon my arrival in France to open to me the doors of that fashionable world, of which I know no more than a Huron or a native Cochin China.
Oh, that I do, with infinite pleasure. And so much the more readily as a letter received this morning from my father summons me to Paris, in consequence of a treaty of marriage. My dear Franz, do not smile, I beg of you. With a family of high standing, and connected with the very cream of Parisian society.
Connected by marriage, you mean?
Well, never mind how it is. It comes to the same thing in the end. Perhaps by the time you return to Paris, I shall be quite a sober, staid father of a family. A most edifying representative I shall make for all the domestic virtues. Don't you think so? But as regard your wish to visit our fine city, my dear Count, I can only say that you may command me and mine to any extent you please.
Then it is settled, and I give you my solemn assurance that I only waited an opportunity like the present to realize plans that I have long meditated.
Franz did not doubt that these plans were the same concerning which the Count had dropped a few words in the grotto of Monte Cristo, and while the Count was speaking, the young man watched him closely, hoping to read something of his purpose in his face. For his countenance was inscrutable, especially when, as in the present case, it was veiled with a sphinx-like smile.
But tell me now, Count,
Exclaimed Albert, delighted at the idea of having to chaperone so distinguished a person as Monte Cristo.
tell me truly whether you are in earnest, or if this project of visiting Paris is merely one of the chimerical and uncertain air castles of which we make so many in the course of our lives, but which, like a house built on sand, is liable to be blown over by the first puff of wind.
I pledge you my honor that I mean to do as I have said. Both inclination and positive necessity compel me to visit Paris.
When do you propose going thither?
Have you made up your mind when you shall be there yourself?
Certainly I have. In a fortnight or 3 weeks' time, that is to say, as fast as I can get there.
Nay, I will give you 3 months ere I join you. You see, I make an ample allowance for all delays and difficulties.
And in 3 months' time, you will be at my house?
Shall we make a positive appointment for a particular day and hour? Only let me warn you that I am proverbial for my punctuous or punctilious exactitude in keeping my engagements.
Day for day, hour for hour. That will suit me to a dot.
So be it then.
Replied the Count, and extending his hand toward a calendar suspended near the chimney-piece, said,
Today is the 21st of February. It is exactly 10:30. Now remember, promise me to remember this and expect me on the 21st of May at the same hour in the forenoon.
Capital! Your breakfast shall be waiting.
Where do you live?
Number 27, Rue de Helder.
Have your bachelor's apartments have you bachelor's apartments there? I hope my coming will not put you to any inconvenience.
I reside in my father's house, but occupy a pavilion at the farther side of the courtyard, entirely separated from the main building.
Quite sufficient.
replied the Count, as taking out his tablets, he wrote down,
Number 27, Rue de Helder, 21st May, 10:30 in the morning. Now then, make yourself perfectly easy. The hand of your timepiece will not be more accurate in marking the time than myself.
Shall I see you again ere my departure?
That depends. When do you leave?
Tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock.
In that case, I must say adieu to you, as I am compelled to go to Naples and shall not return hither before Saturday or even Sunday. And you, Baron,
pursued the Count,
do,
addressing Franz.
do you also depart tomorrow?
Yes.
For France?
No, for Venice. I shall remain in Italy for another year or two.
Then we shall not meet in Paris?
I fear I shall not have that honor.
Well, since we must part, allow me to wish you both a safe and pleasant journey.
It was the first time the hand of Franz had come in contact with that of the mysterious individual before him, and unconsciously he shuddered at its touch, for it felt cold and icy as that of a corpse.
Let us understand each other. It is agreed, is it not, that you are to be at number 27 in the Rue de Helder on the 21st of May at 10:30 in the morning, and your word of honor passed for your punctuality.
The 21st of May at 10:30 in the morning, Rue de Helder, number 27.
Replied the Count. The young man rose, and bowing to the Count, quitted the room.
What is the matter?
Asked Albert of Franz when they had returned to their own apartments.
You seem more than commonly thoughtful.
I will confess to you, Albert, the Count is a very singular person, and the appointment you have made to meet him in Paris fills me with 1,000 apprehensions.
My dear fellow, what can there possibly be in that to excite uneasiness? Why, you must have lost your senses.
Whether I am in my senses or not, that is the way I feel.
Listen to me, Franz. I am glad that the occasion has presented itself for saying this to you, for I have noticed how cold you are in your bearing toward the Count, while he, on the other hand, has always been courteous itself, courtesy itself to us. Have you anything particular against him?
Possibly.
Did you ever meet him previously to coming hither?
I have.
And where?
Will you promise me not to repeat a single word of what I am about to tell you?
I promise.
Upon your honor.
Upon my honor.
Then listen to me.
Franz then related to his friend the history of his excursion to the island of Monte Cristo, and of finding a party of smugglers there, and the 2 Corsican bandits with them. He dwelt with considerable force and energy on the almost magical hospitality he had received from the Count, and the magnificence of his entertainment in the grotto of the 1,001 Nights. He recounted, with circumstantial exactitude, all the particulars of the supper, the hashish, the statues, the dream, and how, at his awakening, there remained no proof or trace of all these events, save the small yacht, seen in the distant horizon, driving under a full sail toward Porto Vecchio. When he detailed the conversation overheard by him at the Colosseum between the Count and Vampa, in which the Count had promised to obtain the release of the bandit Peppino, an engagement which, as our readers are aware, he most faithfully fulfilled. At last he arrived at the adventure of the preceding night, and the embarrassment in which he found himself placed by not having sufficient cash by 600 or 700 piastres to make up the sum required, and finally of his application to the Count, and the picturesque and satisfactory result that followed. Albert listened with the most profound attention.
Well, What do you find to object to in all that you have related? The Count is fond of travelling, and, being rich, possesses a vessel of his own. Go but to Portsmouth or Southampton, and you will find the harbours crowded with yachts belonging to such of the English as can afford the expense, and have the same liking of this amusement. Now, by way of having a resting place during excursions, avoiding the wretched cookery, which has been trying its best to poison me during the last 4 months, well, you have manfully resisted its effects for as many years, and obtaining a bed on which it is possible to slumber, Monte Cristo has furnished for himself a temporary abode where you first found him. But to prevent the possibility of the Tuscan government taking a fancy to his enchanted palace, and thereby depriving him of his advantages naturally expected from so large an outlay of capital, he has wisely enough purchased the island and taken its name. Just ask yourself, my good fellow, whether there are not many persons of our acquaintance who assume the names of lands and properties they never in their lives were masters of.
But the Corsican bandits that were among the crew of his vessel.
Why, really, this thing seems to me simple enough. Nobody knows better than yourself that the bandits of Corsica are not rogues or thieves, but purely and simply fugitives, driven by some sinister motive from their native town or village, and that their fellowship involves no disgrace or stigma. For my own part, I protest that, should I ever go to Corsica, my first visit, ere even I present myself to the mayor or prefect, should be to the bandits of Colombia. If I could only manage to find them. For, on my conscience, they are a race of men I admire greatly.
Still, I suppose you will allow that such men as Vampa and his band are regular villains who have no other motive than plunder when they seize your person. How do you explain the influence the Count evidently possessed over those ruffians?
My good friend, as in all probability, I owe my present safety to that influence. It would ill become me to search too closely into its source. Therefore, instead of condemning him for his intimacy with outlaws, you must give me leave to excuse any little irregularity there may be in such a connection. Not altogether for preserving my life, for my own idea was that it never was in much danger, but certainly for saving me 4,000 piastres, which, being translated, means neither more nor less than 24,000 livres of our money, a sum at which, most assuredly, I should never have been estimated in France, proving most indisputably that no prophet is honored in his own country.
Talking of countries, of what country is the Count? What is his native tongue? Whence does he derive his immense fortune? And what were those events of his early life, a life as marvelous as unknown, that have tinctured his succeeding years with so dark and gloomy a misanthropy? Certainly these are questions that, in your place, I should like to have answered.
My dear Franz, when upon receipt of my letter you found the necessity of asking the Count's assistance, you promptly went to him, saying, "My friend Albert de Morcerf is in danger. Help me to deliver him." Was not that nearly what you said?
It was.
Well, then, did he ask you, "Who is Monsieur Albert de Morcerf? How does he come by his name, his fortune? What are his means of existence? What is his birthplace? Of what country is he native?" Tell me, did he put all these questions to you?
I confess he asked me none.
No, he merely came and freed me from the hands of Signora Vampa, where, I can assure you, in spite of all my outwardly appearance of ease and unconcern, I did not very particularly care to remain. Now then, Franz, when for service so promptly and unhesitatingly rendered, he but asked me in return to do for him what is done daily for any Russian prince or Italian nobleman who may pass through Paris, merely to introduce him into society. Would you have me refuse? My good fellow, you must have lost your senses to think possible I could act with such cold-blooded policy.
And this time it must be confessed that, contrary to the usual state of affairs and discussions between the young men, the effective arguments were all on Albert's side.
Well, do as you please, my dear Viscount, for your arguments are beyond my powers of refutation. Still, in spite of all, you must admit that this Count of Monte Cristo is a most singular personage.
He is a philanthropist. And no doubt his motives in visiting Paris is to compete with the Monthian prize given, as you are aware, to whomever shall be proved to have the most materially advanced the interests of virtue and humanity. If my vote and interest can obtain it for him, I will readily give him the one and promise the other. And now, my dear Franz, let us talk of something else. Come, shall we take our luncheon, and then pay a late visit to St. Peter's?
Franz silently assented, and the following afternoon at 5:30, the young men parted. Albert de Morcerf to return to Paris, and Franz de Pinay to pass a fortnight at Venice. But, ere he entered his travelling carriage, Albert feared that his expected guest might forget the engagement he had entered into, placed in the care of a waiter at the hotel a card to be delivered to the Count of Monte Cristo, on which, beneath the name of Viscount Albert de Morcerf, he had written in pencil: 27 Rue du Helder, on the 21st of May, 10:30 a.m. End of chapter. Chapter 39. The Guests. In the house in the Rue du Helder, where Albert had invited the Count of Monte Cristo, everything was being prepared on the morning of the 21st of May to do honor to the occasion. Albert de Morcerf inhabited a pavilion situated at the corner of a large court, and directly opposite another building, in which were the servants' apartments. 2 windows only of the pavilion faced the street. 3 other windows looked into the court, and 2 at the back into the garden. Between the court and the garden, built in the heavy style of the imperial architecture, was a large and fashionable dwelling of the Count and sorry, you guys. Okay, let's try this again. Between the court and the garden, built in the heavy style of the imperial architecture, was a large and fashionable building of the Count and Countess of Morcerf. A high wall surrounded the whole of the property, surmounted at intervals by vases filled with flowers, and broken in the center by a large gate of gilded iron, which served as the carriage entrance. A small door, close to the lodge of the concierge, gave ingress and egress to the servants and masters when they were on foot. It was easy to discover that the delicate care of a mother, unwilling to part from her son, and yet aware that a young man of the Viscount's age required the full exercise of his liberty, had chosen this habitation for Albert. There were not lacking, however, evidences of what we may call the intelligent egoism of a youth who is charmed with the indolent, careless life of an only son, and who lives, as it were, in a gilded cage. By means of the 2 windows looking into the street, Albert could see all that passed. The sight of that is going on is necessary to young men who always want to see the world traverse their horizon, even if that horizon is only a public thoroughfare. Then, should anything appear to merit a more minute examination, Albert de Morcerf would follow up his researches by means of a small gate, similar to that close to the concierge's door, and which merits a particular description. It was a little entrance that seemed never to have been opened since the house was built, so entirely was it covered with dust and dirt. But the well-oiled hinges and locks told quite another story. The door was a mockery to the concierge, from whose vigilance and jurisdiction it was free, and like the famous portal in the Arabian Nights opening at the sesame of Ali Baba, it was wont to swing backwards at a cabalistic word or at a concerted tap from without, from the sweetest voices or whitest fingers in the world. At the end of a long corridor, with which the door communicated, and which formed the antechamber, was, on the right, Albert's breakfast room, looking into the court, and on the left, the salon, looking into the garden. Shrubs and creeping plants covered the windows, and hid from the garden and the court these two apartments, the only two rooms into which, as they were on the ground floor, the prying eyes of the curious could penetrate. On the floor above were similar rooms, with the addition of a third, formed out of the antechamber. These three rooms were a salon, a boudoir, and a bedroom. The salon downstairs was only an Algerian divan for the use of smokers. The boudoir upstairs communicated with the bedchamber by an invisible door on the staircase. It was evident that every precaution had been taken. Above this floor was a large atelier, which had been increased in size by pulling down the partitions, a pandemonium in which the artist and the dandy strove for preeminence. There were collected and piled up all of Albert's successive caprices: hunting horns, bass viols, flutes, a whole orchestra, for Albert had not had a taste but a fancy for music. Easels, palettes, brushes, pencils, for music had been succeeded by painting. Foils, foxing gloves, broadswords, and single sticks, for, following the example of the fashionable young men of the time, Albert de Morcerf cultivated, with far more perseverance than music and drawing, the three arts that complete a dandy's education. That is, fencing, boxing, and single stick. And it was here that he received Gressier, Cooks, and Charles Le Boucher. The rest of the furniture of this privileged apartment consisted of old cabinets filled with Chinese porcelain and Japanese vases, Luca della Robbia Fraisenis, and Palissy platters, of old armchairs, in which perhaps had sat Henry IV, or Sully, Louis XIII, or Richelieu. For two of these armchairs, adorned with a carved shield, on which were engraved the fleur-de-lis of France on an azure field, evidently came from the Louvre, or at least some royal residence. Over these dark and sombre chairs were thrown splendid stuffs, dyed beneath Persia's sun, or woven by fingers of the woman of Calcutta or of Chandernagor. What these stuffs did there, it was impossible to say. They awaited, while gratifying the eyes, a destination unknown to their owner himself. In the meantime, they filled the place with their golden and silky reflections. In the center of the room was a roller and blanchet baby grand piano in rosewood, but holding the potentialities of an orchestra in its narrow and sonorous cavity, and groaning beneath the weight of the chefs d'oeuvre of Beethoven, Weber, Mozart, Haydn, Grétry, and Porpora. On the walls, over the doors, on the ceiling, were swords, daggers, malaicresses, maces, battle axes, gilded, damasked, and inlaid suits of armor, dried plants, minerals, and stuffed birds, their flame-colored wings outspread in motionless flight, and their beaks forever open. This was Albert's favorite lounging place. However, the morning of the appointment, the young man had established himself in the small salon downstairs. There, on a table, surrounded at some distance by a large and luxurious divan, every species of tobacco known, from the yellow tobacco of Petersburg to the black of Sinai, and so on along the scale from Maryland and Puerto Rico to Latakia, was exposed in pots of crackled earthenware, of which the Dutch are so fond. Beside them, in boxes of fragrant wood, were arranged, according to their size and quality, puros, regalias, Havanas, and Manilas. and in an open cabinet, a reflection of German pipes, or chibouques, with their amber mouthpieces ornamented with coral, and of nargilés, with their long tubes of Morocco, awaiting the caprice or the symphony of the smokers. Or the sympathy of the smokers. Albert had himself presided at the arrangement, or rather, the symmetrical derangement, which, after coffee, the guests at a breakfast of modern days love to contemplate through the vapor that escapes from their mouth and ascends in long and fanciful wreaths to the ceiling. At 10:15, a valet entered. He composed with a little groom named John, and who only spoke English, all Albert's establishment, although the cook of the hotel was always at his service, and on great occasions the Count's chasseur also. This valet, whose name was Germain, and who enjoyed the entire confidence of his young master, held in one hand a number of papers, and in the other a packet of letters, which he gave to Albert. Albert glanced carelessly at the different missives, selected two written in a small and delicate hand, and enclosed in scented envelopes, opened them, and perused their contents with some attention.
How did these letters come?
One by post. Madame Danglars' footman left the other.
Let Madame Danglars know that I accept the place she offers me in her box. Wait then during the day. Tell Rosa that when I leave for the opera, I will sup with her as she wishes. Take her 6 bottles of different wine, Cyprus, sherry, and Malanga, and a barrel of Ostend oysters. Get them at Borel's, and be sure to say they are from me.
At what o'clock, sir, do you breakfast?
What time is it now?
10:15.
Very well. At 10:30, Debray will perhaps be obliged to go to the minister, and besides, it is the hour I told the Count, 21st May, at 10:30, and though I do not much rely upon his promise, I wish to be punctual. Is the Countess up yet?
If you wish, I will inquire.
Yes, ask her for one of her liqueur clarets. Mine is incomplete, and tell her I shall have the honor of seeing her at about 3 o'clock, and that I request permission to introduce someone to her.
The valet left the room. Albert threw himself on the divan, tore off the cover of 2 or 3 of the papers, looked at the theatre announcements, made a face seeing they gave an opera and not a ballet, hunted vainly amongst the advertisements for new tooth powder of which he had heard, and threw down, one after the other, the 3 leading papers of Paris, muttering,
These papers become more and more stupid every day.
A moment after, a carriage stopped before the door, and the servant announced Monsieur Lucien Debray, a tall young man with light hair, clear grey eyes, and thin and compressed lips, dressed in a blue coat with beautifully carved gold buttons, a white neckcloth, and a tortoiseshell eyeglass suspended by a silken thread, and which, by an effort of the superciliary and zygomastic muscles, he fixed his eye, entered, with an half-official air, without smiling or speaking.
Good morning, Lucien, good morning. Your punctuality really alarms me. What do I say? Punctuality! You, whom I expect last, you arrive at 5 minutes to 10, when the time fixed was half past. Has the ministry resigned?
No, my dear fellow,
returned the young man, seating himself on the divan.
reassure yourself. We are tottering always, but we never fall. And I begin to believe that we shall pass into a state of immobility, and then the affairs of the peninsula will completely consolidate us.
True. You drive Don Carlos out of Spain.
No, no, my dear fellow. Do not confound our plans. We take him to the other side of the French frontier and offer him hospitality at Bourges.
At Bourges?
Yes, he has not much to complain of. Bourges is the capital of Charles VII. Do you not know that all Paris knew it yesterday, and the day before it had already transpired on the Bourse, and Monsieur Danglars, I do not know by what means that man contrives to obtain intelligence as soon as we do, made $1 million.
And you another order, for I see that you have a blue ribbon at your buttonhole.
Yes, they sent me the Order of Charles III.
Come, do not affect indifference, but confess that you were pleased to have it.
Oh, it is very well as a finish to the toilet. It looks very neat on a black coat buttoned up.
And makes you resemble the Prince of Wales or the Duke of Reichstad.
It is for that reason you see me so early.
Because you have the Order of Charles III, and you wish to announce the good news to me.
No, because I passed the night writing letters. 25 dispatches. I returned home at daybreak and strove to sleep, but my head ached, and I got up to have a ride for an hour. At the Bois de Boulogne, ennui and hunger attacked me at once, 2 enemies who rarely accompany each other, and who are yet leagued against me, a sort of Carlo-Republican alliance. I then recollected you gave a breakfast this morning, and here I am. I am hungry. Feed me. I am bored. Amuse me.
It is my duty as your host,
returned Albert, ringing the bell, while Lucien turned over, with his gold-mounted cane, the papers that lay on the table.
Germain, a glass of sherry and a biscuit. In the meantime, my dear Lucien, here are cigars. Contraband, of course. Try them, and persuade the minister to sell us such, instead of poisoning us with the cabbage leaves.
Pest! I will do nothing of the kind. The moment they come from government, you would find them execrable. Besides, that does not concern the home, but the financial department. Address yourself to Monsieur Human, section of the indirect contributions, Corridor A, number 26.
On my word, you astonish me by the extent of your knowledge. Take a cigar.
Really, my dear Albert,
replied Lucien, lighting a manila at a rose-colored taper that burned in a beautifully enameled stand.
How happy you are to have nothing to do. You do not know your own good fortune.
And what would you do, my dear diplomatist, if you did nothing? What, private secretary to a minister, plunged at once into European cabals and Parisian intrigues, having kings, and still better queens to protect, parties to unite, elections to direct, making more use of your cabinet with your pen and your telegraph than Napoleon did in his battlefields, with his sword and his victories, possessing 25,000 francs a year, besides your place, a horse for which the Chateau Renaud offered you 400 louis, and which you would not part with, a tailor who never disappoints you, with the opera, the jockey club, and other diversions. Can you not amuse yourself? Well, I will amuse you.
How?
By introducing you to a new acquaintance.
A man or a woman?
A man.
I know so many men already.
But you do not know this man.
Where does he come from? The end of the world?
Farther still, perhaps.
The deuce! I hope he does not bring our breakfast with him.
Oh, no. Our breakfast comes from my father's kitchen. Are you hungry?
Humiliating as such a confession is, I am. But I dined at Monsieur de Villefort, and lawyers always give you very bad dinners. You would think they felt some remorse. Did you ever remark that?
Depreciate other persons' dinners. You ministers give such splendid ones.
Yes, but we do not invite people out of fashion. or of fashion, if we were not forced to entertain a parcel of country boobies because they think and vote with us, we should never dream of dining at home, I assure you.
Well, take another glass of sherry and another biscuit.
Willingly. Your Spanish wine is excellent. You see, we were quite right to pacify that country.
Yes, but Don Carlos...
Well, Don Carlos will drink Bordeaux, and in 10 years we will marry his son to the little queen.
You will then obtain the Golden Fleece if you are still in the ministry.
I think, Albert, you have adopted the system of feeding me on smoke this morning.
Well, you must allow it is the best thing for a stomach. But I hear Beauchamp is in the next room. You can dispute together, and that will pass away this time.
About what?
About the papers.
My dear friend, do I ever read the papers?
Then you will dispute the more.
Monsieur Beauchamp, announced the servant.
Come in,
said Albert, rising and advancing to meet the young man.
Here is Debray, who detests you without reading you, so he says.
He is quite right, for I criticize him without knowing what he does. Good day, Commander.
Ah, you know that already,
said the private secretary, smiling and shaking hands with him.
Pardieu.
And what do they say of it in the world?
In which world? We have so many worlds in the year of grace 1838.
In the entire political world, of which you are one of the leaders.
They say that it is quite fair, and that sowing so much red, you ought to reap a little blue.
Come, that is not bad. Why do you not join our party, my dear Beauchamp? With your talents, you would make your fortune in 3 or 4 years.
I only await one thing before following your advice. That is a minister who will hold office for 6 months. My dear Albert, one word, for I must give poor Lucian a respite. Do we breakfast or dine? I must go to the chamber, for our life is not an idle one.
You only breakfast. I await 2 persons. The instant they arrive, we shall sit down to table.
End of chapter.
I appreciate that all of these French nobles are absolutely petty little bitches.
Yep, they're the worst.
They're the worst, and I love them for it.
And Noemi wonders why I rag on her for being French.
Hey, but Dumas is telling on his own people.
Everyone in Europe had their turn, and in 1838 it was France's turn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think everybody, writers especially, like to always dig at bureaucrats of the era, because I'm just thinking of like similarities of like Dickens also had like the famous office of circumlocution. Like just people who, oh my gosh, they were basically really awful and worthless public servants, supposedly servants. So yeah, I think it was an author thing to do, whether it was French or whatnot. But still, all right. So, what are your opinions, or what are your thoughts on Albert's establishment and his friends and just his entire life as a privileged boy?
Well, if we can go back a chapter briefly,
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I said it in the chat, but the Count had to be invited into Paris. Maybe he really is a vampire.
Yo! Yes!
The Lost Boys. So that was the first time I came across the vampire lore of they have to be invited in before they can enter your residence. But yeah, that bit of lore kind of holds up, especially with the Count being like, "Oh, you must invite me. I would never enter without an invitation."
Yeah, I'm really surprised how like they're really leaning into this lore of this mysterious Count who, like, yeah, it's a joke. Like, he's pale. He's a vampire. No, like, it's really a point now.
Pale skin, go to the top.
What was that?
He shook hands, but his sorry.
But he was cold. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's
Cold as a corpse.
Yeah, and we got a last warning from Franz too. He was like, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you everything." And Franz, like a good fellow, he tried to warn his friend, but ultimately.
Well, as you guys pointed out, Albert is the personification of privilege, and such individuals, they don't seem to understand caution.
I also like that his apartments have been done up with all this like really fancy hoity-toity like worldly goods, and he likes to stay in his den with weapons and taxidermy.
He is such a
Very,
dude.
very masculine.
Yep.
So
Don't forget all of
his man cave.
collection of drugs.
His family has the resources to allow him to take up multiple musical instruments, waste time with whatever arts he was pursuing, and then pick up foils, boxing, and broadswords.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
a little shit. Sorry.
Yeah, he's
Wide
definitely a little
variety
shit.
of tobacco. Just yeah, no, this is a dude in his 20s. I believe it.
Yeah. But it's made even worse because of the fact that he has so much money. So like, yeah, like everybody has their face, you have your bro era, whatever. But man, this guy's so rich and his parents are letting him do whatever. Like,
I wish I had the money to be able to have a violin, a piano, various other instruments, and then be able to do whatever the hell he's been doing in his life.
Nothing. He's been doing nothing. Yeah, when I mentioned like, yo, the baby grand, I was like, no, that's just too much. That's too much. Not fair. What was that? Sorry.
He's been mastering the dandy arts.
I suppose.
Hello?
Yes. Hello.
Okay. Thought no one could hear me because I've been trying to.
We couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't.
What's up?
Anyways, I was just going to say something going back to this when first was saying.
Sorry, Akihana,
golly.
you're breaking up real
You're
bad.
breaking up here.
Yeah, can't.
Okay, I just.
Why don't you type it in chat and we'll read it out for you.
So if you're still driving, that might be hard, and maybe don't do that.
That's a good point.
That is true.
Unless you are driving.
Okay, no, we're typing.
Okay. All right, you guys be sure to read aloud the comment when it's up.
I was just gonna say, back in the previous chapter, not driving, passenger. Reading her comments, by the way. Back. I think we can talk while she goes ahead and types out what she's gonna say.
Yeah.
Reasonable. All right.
Well, we've got mentions of Danglars and de Villefort. So clearly, this is the circle of people that the Count wants in with.
Interesting that they've stayed so close-knit. after their betrayal of such a wonderful man as Edmond Dantes.
Yeah, and I think the girl that they want to marry him, or at least like have close associations with, is Danglars. No.
I was thinking the same thing because it seems like the Danglars daughter is inviting our dear Albert out to whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, wow, really.
We have Akihana's thing she was going to say.
What is it?
She says, anyways, I was going to say that despite all our insult on Albert being this epitome of naivete, since we're readers, thus know more information, I can't help but feel that if I were in his shoes, I probably would have defended the Count in a similar fashion.
Yeah, there's a point to be made there. I mean, he did save Albert's life. Or
Yeah.
at least his coin.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I did.
Also, hello, Crusher.
Hey, how are you, Crusher?
Crusher!
So we have. I was surprised actually that he is hosting a breakfast. Like, he is literally taking his job really seriously. Not only is he having like all of this, smokes and cigars. Smuggled, of course. You can't have anything but smuggled. Smuggled is best. So he has all of these things waiting, and I was like, wow, he's really like waiting for Dante's, but no, he's like literally taking it to heart to introduce him to everybody. This breakfast will include also his buddies, his besties. So, real cream of the crop. It'll be interesting to see how Dante's, meets with all of them and what impression that they will have. He will have on them, because he is really an oddity. So let's see how he's going to charm his way into society, and especially those youngsters. All right, anything else about this chapter you guys want to share?
I really enjoyed the extremely sarcastic back and forth between these
Yes.
these petty French noblemen.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of them. I think Lucien is the one that has to work. He works in the government, and he's like, man, like, you suck. Like, I wish I had as much time as you. And
I'm so busy.
Get
Right? Reminds me of
back to the point, Lucien, but
yeah.
Don Carlos? Really?
Tell us about this Don Carlos, because I was like, I have to look up who this Don Carlos is. Can somebody elucidate to me? I know it has to do with Spanish. Is it having to do with like they deposed somebody or something? Please, I forgot my European history. Anybody knows?
I just assume, he's someone really important in Spain.
Okay. Well,
I'll
look it up later on. I just want to ask if anybody knew offhand. No worries. So, that is 2 chapters today. We're going to continue reading on Friday. Just a little bit of news though. We're unfortunately, due to some, work schedules for me, I will not be able to do any more Wednesday readings. So, but don't worry, you guys, we're still doing the Friday read alouds at 1 p.m. as usual. So we will pick up on that on Friday. And yes, that means that today was our last Wednesday read along, unfortunately. But it's work. We can't can't do anything about it, unfortunately. Also, that means that our anime chit chats also have been postponed until yeah, unfortunately. And I really did try to make it work, but like even this week, I have only watched like 2 animes, so it would be really hard to follow up on all of the animes that we were talking about. Unfortunately, but I do look forward to our read-alongs, and I am committed to continuing to do a sensible bookworm content. I am working right now on some more content. Like I was just before we went live, I was feverishly editing. Hopefully, I have something for members to be able to watch before Friday. So by Friday, if something hasn't dropped, that means something bad happened. So by Friday, something will have dropped, you guys, for all members to watch and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah. So we'll continue to do bookworm, and yeah, that'll be fun stuff. So the fun continues just on Fridays. Let's see. Oh, look, Teal shared some information about Infante. Oh, he was an Infante. Okay, like Prince, right? Infante Carlos Maria Isidro of Spain. Okay, let's look up just because we can.
Well, he caused the stock market to crash at some point.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
All right, let me check. Okay, Wikipedia, donations. Okay. All right. Not to be confused with Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor. I don't know. I would never confuse. I would never dream to confuse them. Never. So Don Carlos, and all of that, was an Infante of Spain, which I think it's like prince. Royal title granted at birth to the children of reigning and past, like prince-ish. And the second surviving son of King Charles IV of Spain, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that, blah, blah, blah. He claimed the throne of Spain after the death of his older brother in 1833. His claim was contested by liberal forces loyal to the dead king's infant daughter, resulting in the First Carlist War. Don Carlos had support from the Basque provinces and much of Catalonia, but lost the war. His heirs continued the traditionalist cause, fought 2 more Carlist wars, and were active into mid-20th century, but never gained the throne. Mid-20th century! Oh, wow. Okay. So, let me see. He married his niece, so he didn't marry the princess from France. Okay. Let's see. Oh, here's some more stuff about Madrid. So maybe this will come in clutch when we read. So Carlos was born blah 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 in Spain, in what is now Community Madrid. In 1808, here we go. In 1808, Napoleon captured Madrid in the Battle of Somosierra, and he induced Carlos's father, Charles IV, and Carlos's older brother, Ferdinand VII, to renounce the rights to the throne of Spain. But Carlos, who was heir presumptive to his brother, refused to renounce his rights to the throne, which he considered to have been given to him by God. From 1808 until 1814, he and his brothers were prisoners of Napoleon at the Palace of Valenciennes in France. Okay, but that was before the events of this story.
This is 1838, so he's in the process of being exiled.
Oh, okay. So if we continue on. During some revolutionary troubles, so he was going to be exiled. Okay. Okay. 1833. Okay, so he did reign. Okay, thank you. I would have subjected you to much stuff. In June 1838, Carlos appointed somebody, shot and issued a proclamation criticizing Carlos's court. Okay, he was exiled. Okay, so then he went into France. and sort of house arrest. No wonder he's going to, he's going to enjoy some Bordeaux. Good. I don't know.
Mhm.
All right. So he spent 5 years there. So maybe we're going to meet him unless... Do you guys think that under house arrest is literally he has to stay in his house? I feel like socially, like he can go out and have socially things, at least back in the day, because he's a king. Probably.
I think you have to have like a guard escort if you leave your residence, but other than that, you're allowed to do whatever.
All right. So this is around this era, it's around September. He was there with a bunch of people, and he had like his court was pretty expensive to maintain. He was not supposed to leave Bourges unless agreed with the administration and not to engage in any political activity. Okay. He spent 5 years there. All right, so maybe he's gonna come up. Maybe. Or maybe he was just, some conversation to show us that, Lucien is hard at work and he is having a hand, or he knows at least, in some events of the era. All right. I have been, educated today on a little bit about Don Carlos. Okay. Thank you for that, Teal. I feel like I know a little bit more about this era.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys. So be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching, and join us on Friday as we pick up the next chapter of this one. I am excited because we get to see now Edmund, and after this, he's going to introduce Edmund to his mother. His mother is going to meet Edmund. I am so excited, you guys. I want to see this.
Mercedes?
Yes, time to meet Mercedes, La Madre Mercedes. We're going to watch her be like, is it you? Is it not? He's going to definitely, definitely ruffle her feathers. For sure, I'm sure. But that will be for Friday, you guys. Maybe. Maybe we'll just read The Breakfast. I think we'll just read The Breakfast. I doubt that they're going to speed us along till we...
Unfortunately, I'll be traveling on Friday, so I will not be able to join.
Aw, that is pity. But thanks for letting us know. Alright, for those of you who are joining us on Friday, we will see you then. And again, today, thank you to those who read. Chapter 38 was read by Chapter 38 and 39 was read by the following people. The Count of Monte Cristo and all the other personas was read by Patrick. Albert Morcerf was read by Ye82. Franz de Pinet was read by Theo. Germain was read by Magpie. That is me. Lucien Debray by Theo. And Monsieur Bouchamp, that is Monsieur Kermit, was read by Patrick. And obviously a huge...
Monsieur Kermit, huh?
Yep. A huge thank you to Teal, who is our highlighter MVP every week. Teal, you are awesome. Until next time, you guys, take care, and remember, reunions with your exes are awkward, but you can do this. We can do this.
Oh, my exes live in Texas.
All right, everybody, goodbye. We'll see you Friday.
You have a good one.
Sayonara!
Adios.
Bon voyage.
Arrivederci.